Nice cutback, Singletary. Throws it back for Stroud. Creativity.
Bobby Slowick has this in the playbook. Stroud just gets out there. I'm open. Hit me. And how about Singletary?
I like that laugh. I was laughing on the inside, on the outside, Sunday at NRG Stadium in the Houston Texans press box. Was I perhaps unprofessional over the course of the game? You could make that argument. The Buccaneers reporter in front of me was basically doing the YMCA after every single Baker Mayfield touchdown, though. So I felt that I, too, could show my battle red and deep steel blue spirit while watching that game. And it was a glorious one. So that play was a fun one. C.J. Stroud has surprisingly good mobility considering it's something he didn't use a lot of in college. And at the very least, I think over the first couple of weeks, you have to admit, okay, he can do some pretty impressive things out there. I really enjoy it when he extends plays because there are some, and you're thinking to yourself, this is going to be a disaster. But there are not many quarterbacks who are able to extend plays the way that Stroud does from time to time. It is Mahomes-esque, his ability to just move around behind the line of scrimmage and continue to buy time for his wide receivers. I think we all have to finally admit something. And I know there are some holdouts here, but we all have to admit that C.J. Stroud is good. And we all have to admit right now that C.J. Stroud should have gone first overall. Just those two things. That's it. I'm not asking for a lot more. I'm not saying he's great. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not even saying he's the best quarterback in Houston sports history like some of us did after Deshaun Watson had a couple of nice seasons in a row. Oh, how quickly we forget Warren Moon. But it's easy to forget the Oilers, seeing as they left town. But 470 passing yards in a game is the most ever by a rookie. He's the sixth player ever with 450-plus passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in a game. He's going to be the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. He's going to win a bunch of awards for this week's performance. And just in the second half, because in the first half, there were some frustrating moments. Stroud missed some people deep. There were dropped passes. There was a fumble. First half, there's really only one drive that was good. Right before halftime, I don't know what the F the Texans were doing on that drive because they had 3 minutes left and they couldn't even get off a Hail Mary. But the second half, it opens up 75-yard catch and run by Noah Brown. He goes 15 of 19 in the second half for 313 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a 158.3 rating. That is perfect. So here's what I want right now from you guys, and we'll let you chime in, 713-780-3776 to call in or to text in. Give me a good argument or perhaps a joking, like wrong answers only argument why you don't believe C.J. Stroud is good. That's all we're asking everybody to admit. He's good. Give me a good reason. 713-780-3776 to call or text. You can join twitch.tv/ESPN975. HTX Rhino says, I admit nothing. All caps. Okay. That's a pushback. Now, you're not giving me a why for the pushback, but that certainly is a pushback.
You could just be like, haven't seen enough. Do it in the playoffs.
Do it against a team that
will make the playoffs.
Resonates nationally. Well, here's the thing. They've played 3 teams that all have a chance to make it. Somehow the Steelers are above 500. LeBron James loves bringing that up because LeBron knows football. We'll play that later on in garbage time. The Saints in the NFC South, not a good division.
Yeah, play a real playoff team.
But that is a playoff team.
Yeah.
Steelers, theoretically a playoff team. Jaguars, 5 in a row.
Yeah.
That's the longest winning streak in the NFL. 3 of their wins are decent at the very least. So even that's not a
playoff team that doesn't play in Florida.
There you go.
A non-Florida playoff team.
A team that has an actual national following. And here's the problem, that even if they beat the Bengals on Sunday, that person is still going to have an argument, the Chiefs, who cares? Yeah. So basically they'd have to beat the Bengals, who cares? They'd have to beat either the Chiefs, Eagles,
Niners,
Niners, not the Niners anymore, though. They've lost 3 in a row. That's
true.
That's where you
Brock Purdy sucks.
For that person, the only way that the Texans can impress him, and specifically C.J. Stroud can impress him, is if they play a very select few teams that aren't on the schedule.
Ravens, play them again. Play the Ravens again.
Look what happened week 1 against the Ravens.
Yeah.
Ravens are looking really good. They've kicked the Lions' ass and the Seahawks' ass in 2 of the last 3 weeks. Those are 2 at least decent teams. Playoff teams for the Lions this year, Seahawks last year.
You know what we need? We need the Texans to play the Dolphins. Because the Dolphins, they blow out every bad team and they lose to every good team. That's how we figure out if the Texans are good or not.
Ah, okay.
It's the test we have to run.
But if you beat the Dolphins,
you're
calling the Dolphins frauds. You're calling the Dolphins frauds.
No, but you're a good team, though, because they lose to good teams.
Yeah, that's right. But you're still at the same time saying, but who did they beat? Even though proving that they are a good team by beating the Dolphins is still true. But now you're a good team who hasn't beat anyone. I want people to give me a good argument as to why they don't believe in C.J. Stroud. From the 832, I admit I wanted Bryce, but I'm glad we have Stroud. We deserve him after dealing with the Easterby. It's totally fine to admit you wanted Bryce. Bryce is off to a rough start. Could that change? Sure. Right now, Stroud's clearly better. Not even an argument.
Is Bryce getting taller? Is that how it changes?
Bryce threw an interception Bryce threw 2 pick sixes to the same guy yesterday on the Colts. Some guy I'd never heard of before.
Oh. That was a catchable ball.
He does throw a very catchable ball. They were bad interceptions.
Hits him in stride.
The first one in particular was an absolutely horrible interception. From @TXBeerGuy10 on the text line. Likely a good thing he wasn't first overall. Less pressure to be good very quickly. I suppose, but I mean, if he's in Carolina, it's the same thing. Like it's a fan base that's in a similar spot where they've been around for a while, and it's hard to, I think, maintain interest when there are alternative options. And that area is much more of a college football area. Charlotte is Clemson hotbed.
Yeah, and the real thing is that because the Panthers had to trade up to get him, they're also going to be down their first round pick this year, which is going to be like a top 5 pick. They're going to be down DJ Moore, and yeah, they're just going to be in a tougher. So you already have less weapons, or just as few weapons as CJ Stroud has, but then less avenues to get them.
It's pretty funny where we've come with CJ Stroud's weapons too now, because this offense is explosive. Because at the beginning of the season, everyone thought this was one of the worst skill groups in the league going into the year. Everyone and their mother. Like, Pierce was the best guy. You were excited about Dell, but you're like, is he going to play? He's tiny. Mm-hmm. Dalton Schultz, the Cowboys just let him walk, and they signed him to a 1-year contract. Noah Brown cast off. Robert Woods cast off. Nico Collins hadn't done anything yet. John Mechie never played. Hurt again now. That's unfortunate for him. Like, you could look at this receiving core in August, and you're like, this sucks. Now, all of a sudden, we're like, Frisky? Huh? And that's the CJ Stroud effect, because Stroud is good. And you got to admit it.
No, I was just going to say, I still don't look at these Texan receivers and view them as, like, really good.
I don't either.
I still am like, yeah, no, they're just a bunch of guys. But I guess it does speak to CJ Stroud, where it's like, you can give CJ Stroud just a bunch of guys, and he can at least orchestrate a game-winning drive with 46 seconds on.
That's the son of a good quarterback. Who was that tight end that Joe Burrow was throwing to last night?
Irv Smith? Oh, Drew Sample.
Drew Sample. Who the heck is that? Didn't he play quarterback in college? I feel like he did. I don't even know. I don't care either. I just know that that's a rando, and that guy's good with Joe Burrow. You saw it with Tom Brady. You saw it with Peyton Manning. There are lots of quarterbacks who make guys around them significantly better than they probably would be in a different situation. That is the good quarterback effect. But I want to hear from you. Do you actually have a good argument as to why C.J. Stroud isn't good? Somebody's got to have it. I want it. Embrace debate. I want to hear from the Zaggers. Get me that Zag. Most interactive sports talk show in Houston. I'm offering a platform to all the Zaggers out there. All the people who have different takes. Because I want to find somebody who can either do it in a funny way or a serious way. I want to find somebody who can zag on C.J. Stroud and say he's not good. Especially today. On today, the greatest day of our lives, the greatest day to be a Houston Texan fan in years after yesterday's 39-37 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where C.J. Stroud threw for 470 yards, rookie record, 5 touchdowns as well. Here are a couple of texts. One person says, Zag, nothing good happens to us. That is a great point. You know what? That is such a Houston Texans fan mentality, and I totally understand you.
David Mogetta is still C.J. Stroud's agent.
Oh, God. That one, Sean, is very concerning. Here's another one from the text line. And CJ did talk about it. CJ's dad is locked up. He's clearly not about football. How could his son possibly be committed? Okay, well, I get where you're trying to go there. Here's how I would have done it. Oh, CJ Stroud, post-game press conference, is bringing up how the prison system is corrupt. It's wrong. Oh, hey, CJ, it's time to focus on Cincinnati. It's time to focus on Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I'm not saying stick to sports. I'm saying stick to beating Cincinnati.
Yeah, watch him. He was talking about how he was watching videos on with the state of the U.S. prison system. Watch videos on Dax Hill. And is Eli Apple still a Cincinnati Bengal? I don't know. I don't think he is.
It's a good question.
Watch film on the Bengals, all right?
It's right now. It's got to start. It's got to start right now. But, I mean, what he did, really impressive. But before we get to some more of your contributions, I'm glad that we can finally listen to this clip and say, hey, maybe the Texans are creating something like this. D'Amico Ryans was asked about a winning culture that's developing in the Texans locker room.
With the culture, it's about believing in each other. That's one thing I mentioned to our guys pregame before we went out there. Like, everybody just lean on each other, believe in each other, right? And we come back in this locker room, let's make sure we come back with the win, no matter what it takes. And that's what I saw today. I saw a team gritted out when things, of course, they didn't go our way, right? We didn't get stops when we should have got stops, right? We lose our kicker. Like, everything that could have possibly went wrong for us, it went wrong. But it didn't matter because of the mindset of our locker room. Guys who are going to fight for each other, guys who believe in each other, and guys who are going to hold each other accountable. And that's what good culture is.
Hell yeah. Now, what was unfortunate about the Texans talking about winning culture and winning mindset was that they weren't winning these games early. And this is why what happened on Sunday is such a big deal. This is really the first time in Texans history where they won a game like this. It's always the other team who does it against them. So now for a change, Sean, who brought this up, because I was really excited by a lot of CJ Stroud quotes about a winning mentality and winning mindset after they lost a football game.
They're 0-2. They lost 2 football games when you asked him about his winning mentality.
But I asked him about the winning mentality, and he gave a really thoughtful and thought-provoking answer.
Well, he's a thoughtful guy.
He is a thoughtful guy. He's thinking about the criminal justice system. He's thinking about his Lord and Savior, man of faith. And he was thinking about what it's going to take to have that winning culture. And guess what? Even when you doubted, Sean, when you doubted CJ Stroud, that winning culture, it shone through. And now they all have to believe because the winning culture actually resulted in a win on Sunday.
What's the record?
The record is 4-4.
Okay.
That's 4 wins, winning culture.
But also 4 losses.
Sure, but it's all about the win.
They have a 500 culture right now.
Positive vibes only.
They have a neutral culture.
The vibe's immaculate.
They have a defense that's giving up 37 points to Baker Mayfield and making Bryce Young look like not a complete bust little person.
Bend but don't break. Bend but don't break. They just bend. They bend a lot.
We could have just hired Lincoln Riley if we wanted bend don't break defense.
Bend but don't break. Bend but don't break. That's 4 wins. 4 wins. And you don't talk about the losses because Sean, guess how many wins the Texans have in the last week? 1.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks too. They only have 1. Last 3 weeks.
Well, hey, we're going to only focus on the 1 week because in the last week they have 1 win, and a lot of people, they're just haters. You know, Sean Mapes, he's mad about his Dallas Cowboys losing. He's mad about it, man. Another text. Zag, CJ had free reign. They never blitzed a rookie. WTF. Oh. So they didn't even blitz him. So had they blitzed him? Okay, yeah. we'd actually give C.J. Stroud credit for throwing for almost 500 yards.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, it's
all the time in the world back there.
I got to say, it's probably more impressive that he's throwing for that many yards, considering the issues the Texans had when teams are throwing a bunch of guys back in coverage. I mean, the Bucs defense is not very good this season from a pass defense perspective, but pretty crazy that they're dropping a bunch of guys back and he's still picking them apart.
Yeah, but, 500 still. Winning mentality.
From the 747, so we just going to forget about what Deshaun Watson did for the city of Houston? Win a playoff game first, CJ. Well, what things are we talking about with Deshaun Watson? First off,
he did a lot of things to the city of Houston.
Second off, congratulations, you beat the Bills in a playoff game, but that game against the Colts is one of the most pathetic playoff performances I've ever seen by a quarterback. I think is good, and I remember people got mad at me for saying that because that was when Deshaun Watson was untouchable. And I was a jealous white man described by many for saying that the loss was not on Bill O'Brien, that loss to the Colts. It was 100% on Deshaun Watson, who could not pick up pre-snap blitzes.
And you said he was untouchable. Little did we know that he was very touchable.
He was trying to be touched. He was trying his hardest. Yeah. From the 409, how does Sean not know that Baker was one of the most highly sought-after free agent quarterbacks? He's a freaking stud. So true. So true. So, that just happens.
On his fourth team in 5 years?
Yeah.
Might even be 14 in 4 years.
It's his life journey. It's his life journey. They're all scared of him because
frequent flyer miles.
They're scared of him because of all the commercials. They're not.
The NFL doesn't want commercials now.
The NFL doesn't want a short king to succeed. It's all about that.
Is that Bryce Young's problem too?
That is Bryce Young's problem.
Okay.
Good
to know.
That's what a lot of short kings will say is the world is keeping them down.
C.J. Stroud. Well, they're definitely not keeping him up. C.J. Stroud's best attribute is being 6'2".
Yeah, that's true. But also, I think C.J. Stroud's unwavering confidence is also a great quality. It's a great trait.
And his winning mentality.
Well, Sean, here is his winning mentality.
As many losses.
Let's listen to C.J. Stroud talk about his winning mentality. You zagger. You effing zagger here. You're doing it seriously. You're doing it seriously. I don't even believe that this is sarcastic.
You said wrong answers only.
Oh, so now you got plausible deniability for that? Here's C.J. Stroud talking about winning mentality, Sean. This is a winning mentality. This is what winners do. They win.
I think it's something that can get us rolling. Momentum is everything in this league and in the game of football. So we got to ride this momentum and work really hard in practice this week. And we weren't perfect out there, though, and we're never going to be perfect. But we got to clean up some things. Got to run the ball a little better as well. But I think, as you can see, I don't think we can be stopped when we're on our A game. So it's a big time win for us. And as you see, November and December is when we want to be playing the best ball. So now we just want to upscale, uptrend, and trailblaze into the playoffs, and hopefully get a chance to win a division, everything like that. So we got a lot of work to put in, though.
Can't be stopped. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. But how do we do a proper Zach? I'm just not seeing him. Well, it's time to introduce an old friend to the show. Now, if you're watching on the twitch.tv/ESPN975, not only have I put on a fat suit and an old sports jacket, but I've also put on a wig that shows that I'm losing my hair. This is like one of those toupee wigs that you would see back in the day. For a long time, I used to just imagine that every single sports talk show host looked like I look right now. Just like a fat, disgusting slob who, at the same time, is trying his best to be presentable, but in a radio way. So he's got the blazer on. He's got a sweater on to hide his figure. He's probably eating in the middle of the segment. He's going to burp all over the microphone. And his hair is going, but it doesn't matter. He's on the radio, and he's making six figures. And that guy, how would he zag here? How would he hot take Harry? How would he explain to people that C.J. Stroud actually sucks? Well, it's time to hear from Hot Take Harry. Hot Take Harry here. Talk a lot. My God. Suck up to C.J. Stroud some more. He can't possibly do it. I'm going to say what everyone's afraid to say right now. Oh, wow. C.J. Stroud did that against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the league's worst pass defense? Hashtag fraud, because he did it against frauds. Where was this against the Ravens? Fraud. Where was this the first half against the Colts? Where was this the last 3 games? Oh, he beat the Saints. What was his completion percentage? It was worse than my 8-year-old, who's going to be a stud. because I've been paying his coaches to make him play quarterback. Where was he against the Falcons? Where was he against the Panthers? Where was this against Michigan? Oh, he had a good game against Georgia. Georgia didn't care. It wasn't an SEC game. Didn't matter to them. And here's C.J. Stroud right now, masquerading as a 500-yard passer when he, in reality, is just the quarterback of a sub-500 team. C.J. Stroud, is he the worst quarterback in Houston Texans history? I can't say. But he's no Case Keenum. He's no T.J. Yates. Those guys had big moments in big-time spots against big-time teams. And C.J. Stroud, I've got to say, this guy is fake. That MFer is not real. Hot take carry out. This wig is very warm. So is the sweater. So is the fat suit. It's not ideal. But that's how you do it. That's how you do the zag. And I want to know if somebody's going to do the zag today.